3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Spiel des Jahres nominee, Ignacy.
And this is Corey Thompson, news coordinator for Dice Tower, host of Dice Tower Now Weekly Podcast, creator of Dice Tower Dish interview blog, executive producer of Above Board TV.
Much too much stuff. And this is the Podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 284. We're recording it on July 20th, 2023. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And again, I have been snubbed by Tom Vassell. I was not asked to host the Dice Tower Awards presented at Gen Con. Let me look up the event. Hold on. Oh, look. It is Corey Thompson that will be hosting the event. Will we see you in a suede or sequin tuxedo, Dr. Thompson?
I believe I will doff my best t-shirt.
That's really unacceptable, but that's fine. For Tom's Awards, that's absolutely okay for me. So, yeah, I heard that you're going to be doing that, which is pretty cool. And enjoy it. I would go get some ugly tuxedo. That would be fun.
I might do that.
Meanwhile, Ignacy, tell us about what's happening at Portal Games, because you had to catch up after a week plus away with great travels and things like that happened for you.
Speaking about the Dice Tower ceremony, I got no single nomination for my brilliant games. So, I don't know. Why, Tom? Why? And I had a great comeback from the Dice Tower Con. I wrote about it in my blog post. You can read it at ignacy.com. I filed a request for the Dice Tower Award just for my bravery coming to the con. Because
I agree.
In the planes, this is not working together whatsoever. So
that was a great post. That was a great post. I read that post. That is awesome.
I invite everyone to check out ignacy.com to read about my adventures in traveling. But what's going on at the company? Actually, in 2 days, we are shutting down the company. As our loyal listeners know, every year for the 2 weeks, we are just shutting down the company, and everybody gets 2 weeks vacation. So it will start upcoming Monday. Of course, we will have 3 or 4 brave employees who will stay in the office to do some shipping and some small things. But basically, 90% of the whole team is getting vacation at this time. So this is what's happening in the office. As for our English-speaking fans, we are preparing start of the pre-orders for Essen. So I know that the whole social media and the whole internet is discussing Gen Con that is around the corner. But obviously, if the Gen Con is around the corner, that means that all publishers are already preparing for the Essen that will be around the corner very, very soon. So for us, publishers who are having releases for Essen Spiel, we are nailing down all the details for the pre-orders, for the pickup Essen and the new releases and the goodies. So when the whole hype after Gen Con slows down, we are ready to start building hype for the Essen. So this was happening at my company. Obviously, our big main release of the Essen Spiel this year will be Imperial Miners. Steven played with me at the Dice Tower Con. Corey was not there, very sad. So maybe next opportunity.
I really feel like I missed out. It sounded so good.
The feedback is very good that we have after the show. I'm very proud.
And just so you know, Ignacy, Corey and I actually talked about this on the last show when you weren't here. And I said, listen, of course, I'm going to say good things generally about any game that we're involved with. But I said, no, I mean, you can tell when there's a difference between me just saying, oh, you got to check this out, and me saying, oh my God, this is good. I really, really enjoyed it. The game is so sleek, so streamlined. I just love the interactions on those cards and building your mind from the top down, but getting those bottom cards so you can take all the actions. Really love the game. So congratulations. Fantastic.
And that's all I've heard. Everyone telling me that it's great. So I can't wait.
Thank you. I appreciate the nice words. And I want to use this platform to thank all the Dice Tower Con attendees who made this additional effort. And we discussed it with Steven for years on this podcast. Leave a voice in social media for the independent publishers. So I have plenty of attendees from the DiceTowerCon who made this additional effort, went to Board Game Geek and rated the game. Few clicks, but now the game already has a ratings. It has an average rating 7.9, which is very, very high. And I appreciate that because this helps a lot, because now if people will be preparing for Essen and they will be checking what's interesting, they will already see the rating. They will already see the comments of people who played the game at the convention. So I want to say personally, I appreciate those of you who played the game and who made this additional effort. So visited the Board Game Geek website and made the effort to rate it. And that's it. Basically, as I said, the whole company is on the vacation, and I am preparing for the start of pre-orders of Imperial Settlers, which I will, of course, announce in the next episodes very, very soon. So, and once again, if you want to smile and laugh, go to my blog and read about my adventures.
I feel bad smiling and laughing about it. It's, oh, man, it's rough.
It's only rough because he hates travel. I get almost the same experience every time I travel, and I travel 10 times more than him per year. So, you know, I feel for you, but I this happens like every time. I leave in 5 days to go to the WBC in Pennsylvania, see some friends game. 2 flights, of course. Is it going to go smoothly? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, what's going on by you?
Oh, well, you know, panic mode, getting ready for Gen Con. I'm leaving in almost a week. I'm going to get to Gen Con early because Above Board has a whole bunch of advertising going up. Just as a reminder, the Above Board celebrity show on the big stage is Friday at 10 a.m. And then we have a Q&A with our cast on Saturday at 10 a.m. So it's going to be funny. It's going to be great. Our whole cast is fantastic. Improv and sketch comedy writers. We're going to have some surprises. It'll be great.
And this is all in support of your new endeavor called Above Board TV. Which is a YouTube channel and other things that are going to be going on in the future. Very cool.
We've been putting 2 videos up on Above Board TV on YouTube per week. Anything from trying to play board games while skydiving to public service announcements about analysis paralysis from Bob Picardo.
Yeah, you gotta watch these videos. They are insanely funny.
So
my favorite is Rodney Smith teaching how to play rock scissors. Like this is
he did so good.
I showed it even to my daughter. She's not a super gamer, but like that, you have to see it.
And Rodney is so amazing. All of that was on the spot. It was all improv. He's so good. So I did an interview a while ago with 5 Games for Doomsday with Ben Maddox. So that interview is up now if you want to learn more about, I don't know why, but if you want to learn more about me, it seemed like which I like about it, he's always more interested in the person than the games. And it's just a fantastic venue for learning and doing. He does such a good interview. I'm too afraid to listen to it.
Major shout out to Ben Maddox and 5 Games for Doomsday. He's
love Ben.
Awesome guy, awesome channel. He's the only guy that knows less about Lord of the Rings than you, though. So I just want to point that out. Go ahead, Corey.
Thank you. I think that's been proven wrong on a lot of occasions, Stephen. You've been repeatedly just shamed on the Lord of the Rings front.
Okay. All right, we'll see.
And then finally, I'm just excited because one of my favorite trick-taking games is Texas Showdown. It's been out of print since 2006. It's basically Six Nimp, the trick-taking game, and the new version of it has actually dropped in the wild called Seas of Strife with art from Beth Sobel. So, tiny little game. Most people haven't heard about it. I think it's a fun party trick-taking game. I'm excited. Mine arrived yesterday, Rio Grande.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's what's going on in my world.
And over here at the Podfather of Gaming, we just recorded this week the next episode of The Quad, which is the new Board Game Geek show. This is episode 5 we recorded, and a certain person here
I heard this episode was amazing, like the best one ever.
Corey was our 4th chair. Go ahead, Ignacy.
I want to give a little bit of background to our listeners because I know they appreciate that. So my show notes have 7 lines. Corey's show notes have around 12 lines. Steven Monaco show notes 1 page, second page and start at the third page.
Yep.
Buckle up, there's a lot of news.
No. I put stuff there and I gray it out so that I don't talk about everything every week, just a little bit. So thank you for both interrupting me on this amazing show on Board Game Geek. It's called The Quad. 4 people from the industry, and it's we have 3 people that do it all the time. It's myself, Candace Harris of Board Game Geek, Matthew McCack from Room 51, and then a rotating 4th chair. It was Corey this week. We pick one topic in board gaming, the best games of something. It could be best games of a particular designer. This week, it was best games to play at 5 players, which Corey complained about. He wanted a different topic, but that's fine. And we then present our game, and we fight for it. Like, why is this one truly the best example? I can't recommend it enough. We have a great time doing it, and I think we're putting out some really funny comment as we try to substantiate that our game is actually the best. So
I actually had such
out.
a fantastic time. I was laughing the whole time. My face hurt.
Thank you, Corey. On my gaming front, we started my new D&D 5e campaign. This is this is the second campaign. It's the one where I'm playing with the industry folks. Alex Schmidt is the DM, COO of Stonemeyer, Julie Ahern, director at Van Ryder, Dustin Wessel, director at Maestro Media, and Rachel Blasky, who has left the industry, but she was with Gamma and other companies along the way. This is going to be one dark campaign. It's in Ravenloft. I'm playing a dark paladin, lawful, but maybe not good. Oath of Vengeance for those who are deeply into all of that. So first session occurred. Obviously, we'll be playing this for a couple of years, so I'll update you once in a while. And the Pathfinder 1E continues now after 3.5 years. We should wind that down around the end of the year. Other things, I mentioned the WBC trip I'm going on next week. That's just fun, friends hanging out, playing long games. We'll definitely get in War of the Ring. We're going to get in Twilight Imperium 4. So we're talking about, we always play the biggest of the big games here in an open gaming setting. And this is not to be confused, of course, with the World Series of Board Gaming, which I am a board member of. You can still go to that. Use the code PODFATHER to get $40 off your ticket and a guaranteed drink with the Podfather. That's not part of the, when you put the code in, it doesn't tell you that, but I guarantee if you say you owe me a drink, I'll be buying you a drink at the World Series of Board Gaming, September, Las Vegas. Let's make it happen. $40,000 in prizes are given out. Now let's get to the event deck. See, guys, it wasn't that long. Anyway.
Sorry, Ignacy and I were playing a game online. Are you back?
I get no respect. First story we have here is a follow-up to a story we brought up a couple of weeks ago regarding the lawsuit that has been brought up between Upper Deck and Ravensburger and the designer of a game that Ravensburger is bringing out, a very big one called Disney Lorcana. Let me read from the ICV2 article. Ravensburger filed a motion to dismiss Upper Deck's lawsuit against them over the alleged theft of an Upper Deck game by game designer Matt Ryan that contributed to the creation of Disney
Ryan
Lorcana.
Miller.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Ryan? I didn't...
No, the designer is Ryan Miller.
Oh, I thought I said that. If I didn't, I apologize. The motion to dismiss was filed in U.S. Southern District Court of California. And to remind everybody, it was back in June, just last month, Upper Deck had filed this suit claiming that Mr. Miller and Ravensburger had breached the work-for-hire contract, and that work that he did is now being pushed over to Disney Lorcana. The interesting thing about this, if you look into it, is that this motion is only saying that they did not establish nexus. They didn't establish the correct place to bring the lawsuit, which they think is, they brought it to a lawsuit in California, but none of these people have businesses or live in California. So Miller and Ravensburger said, you can't have it. You can't sue us there. You have to sue us someplace else, which would likely be Washington, where they both have either residences or businesses. So this is just the first salvo in this entire thing.
Well, there's been like 5 salvos. It seems like every day there's a new article on one of the main news sites about this lawsuit. There's been accusations that all of the data about the previous game is wrong. There's been 3 different names for the previous game. There's been accusations that this is just this is a garbage lawsuit. None of it is true, and it's just there to delay time. They keep attacking back and forth at each other.
Right. And
yesterday was a new statement from Upper Deck. So yes, it continues. It's open dialogue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Upper Deck,
both sides are firing back and forth.
The Upper Deck statement simply says, well, they failed to address all the merits of the case, which of course they do. When you just put out a motion to dismiss, you try to dismiss based on, in this case, where it's being brought up, not the merits yet. So yeah, they're going to salvo back and forth for quite some time. So stay tuned. It's going to be a tremendous amount going on here. The next one involves Keymaster Games involved in another lawsuit. And Corey, why don't you take this away? This is extremely interesting.
This is a tricky one. The court case in Georgia is open, so it's available to read, but it's a little tricky to get to, and I think they make it that way on purpose. So the summary that I'm giving from the reading of the court document is that Keymaster Games, who are the makers of Parks, Trails, and Caper, 3 very popular games, it's currently owned by 3 individuals. Kyle Key, who founded the company, has 40.1%. Maddox Schuler has 39.9%, and Matt Aiken has 20%. So a little history, Kyle Key was removed as producer from Keymaster in November 2022. This is according to internal documents, and had announced his retirement from the company internally to members. So this week, a lawsuit in Athens, Georgia against Kyle Key on behalf of the other 2 owners, Aiken and Schuler, claims that Key misused company funds, shared company secrets, and harmed the company irrevocably. Specifically, they claim that Key spent company money on travel and gym purchases, and that Key has held in hostage company access and passwords to GoDaddy, Google Administrator, and Shopify. And, there's more, that Key shared secrets about sales, royalties, and contracts with the competitors, Ravensburger, the OP, and Buffalo Games, presumably in anticipation of trying to sell the company. So Schuler and Aiken are moving to place a restraining order and injunction against Kyle Key, and they're asking to have Key removed from the company. In response, Key posted a letter online on Twitter claiming that all the accusations are false and Keymaster is scrambling due to approaching insolvency. The interesting thing is both Key and Aiken are scheduled to be at Gen Con, so we'll see if anything happens at Gen Con.
That's a wild one. It's
kind of came out of nowhere.
I don't even know where to start with this. It's like, I mean, when you have a problem with a company, the last thing that you can do is this alleged, I'm going to hold all this stuff and I'm going to use company. You are really opening yourself up. So this is all alleged. We don't know how this is going to go, but
well, the court case is real, but I mean, all of these accusations are what's written in the court case, these alleged accusations.
So we'll be following this. And Corey, this didn't even come out like on ICV2 or any of the other game media. You found this somehow. How did we won't even go into that. We are investigative recorders, investigative reporters here.
Yes. I have a lot of friends in the industry, and on the day that this hit, my phone just blew up.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it, and then I was guided towards the court case, and that's where we got it.
And this is
I have my insight as well, so be careful, because my insight to the story is that last year when I was traveling to the United States, I was in Athens, Georgia. That's all.
And you may be brought back to Athens, Georgia to testify because you saw Athens, Georgia.
I spent there actually 2 days. So yes, I know the place.
There you go. So you understand the seriousness of this case.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's very, very, very serious. But it is serious. But we'll
It is.
we'll have more on this as the facts unfold, I'm sure.
Yes.
But in good news, the Spiel des Jahres jury has announced the winners for the 2023 award season.
Live on Monday.
And they did this live on Monday, which I did not watch, but it's come out now. And the winners are
Dorfromantik, which is based on video game.
Dorfromantik is the number one, is the game of the year, the Spiel des Jahres itself.
Yes.
And we had already reported that also nominated was Fun Facts and Next Station London. And then there was, of course, a much longer recommended list that they always put out as well.
Yes.
In the category of the Kinderspiel, that's the children's game, it was Challengers.
No.
Nope. Sorry, it was Mysterium Kids, because
Mysterium Kids, the kids game.
There you go. They pushed it differently there. And of course, Challengers won the Kenner Spiel des Jahres game, the expert game of the year. Gentlemen, any more comments on this? We did cover the nominees. Any comments on how good these games are? Because I have touched none of them.
I picked up the German edition of Dorfromantik at Essen last year, and I do like it a lot. It's a simple tile-laying game that's very satisfying. You're looking to complete challenges in the tiles, get this many houses or this many trees next to each other. And it has a legacy element where envelopes open up as you do it, and it gives you more challenges and a really lovely kind of achievement sheets to tick it off. I'm a huge fan of the original video game, which is one of these computer games known as a cozy game with beautiful music, and it's tranquil, and you put tiles down, and it's gorgeous, and little boats go down rivers, and I love the game. So I'm happy with Dorfromantik. Challengers, such a fun game. All my best to One More Time Games. I was lucky enough to be able to look at early versions of this game when it was called, I believe, Underdogs. And there's such good people over at One More Time, especially Julian's good friend, and they deserve it. This game is doing super well. So congratulations. And even Mysterium Kids, I've heard nothing but good things. It's a neat sound based. It's Captain Echo's Treasure, and kids seem to really dig it. By the way, it is kind of the equivalent of buying your friend's kid a drum kit. There's pluses and minuses there.
Ignacy, did you, and you're publishing one of these?
We were discussing publishing Polish edition of Dorfromantik. We like the game a lot. Unfortunately, we had to pass on it due to the price point. As you also have to remember, Polish market is very specific, and the price is a very important key factor. So the game was a little bit too expensive for the Polish market, but it's a very, very good game. As for the challengers, Asmodee Poland is doing that. So it is released here in Poland. I'm doing the whole show tomorrow on my Polish YouTube channel about these nominations. And so I will talk about it more, of course, in Polish only. But I get a lot of questions on my social media here in Poland from fans. And I think that we need to talk about it over and over every single year. People were confused that the Kennerspiels, the advanced game, the expert game, goes to the quite simple game like Challengers. The people who were asking me said the Dorfromantik and Challengers, they both seem like a Spiel des Jahres, the same difficulty of the game, and they expected something more difficult to win for the expert game. And every single year, because these controversial choices are every single year, and I explain them. This is for the German market, this is for the mass market games, and even the mass market games, advanced means super simple.
Sure. And I think that as we've discussed here, the Spiel des Jahres games and what they nominate and select in each one of these categories has changed drastically over time. In the beginning, Spiel des Jahres could be a pretty heavy game, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, but some of them
there was no Kennerspiel until I believe 2009.
There was no Kennerspiel, but even
early
on, because this war's been going on for like 30 years.
Yeah, there was Tikal, there was Torres, there were like heavy games.
Beautiful games.
But they were understanding that to grow the market, you need to give to simpler games so people discover these games, play them, and want to look for more.
Yeah, and I
Right.
do agree. Challengers probably belonged in the Spiel category. The other two Kenner Spiel nominees, Iki and Planet Unknown, I think are reasonably complex and
Planet Unknown is
would have
amazing.
deserved. It's such a good game.
I'm doing Polish edition of Planet Unknown. It will be released here in Poland in September. We are all excited. It is an absolutely amazing game, Planet Unknown. A strong recommendation.
The Adam's Apple guys are just so nice. They deserve it. I started talking with them and playing with this, I think 2 years ago at Gamma. Such a good game. And now the expansion Supermoon is just about to go into production.
Very, very cool. Making Board Games, the CGE documentary. Now, I saw that they were putting this out, and it looks like it's going to be so interesting. They have an 8-episode docuseries that they are going to be putting out over time. I think it's once per week, but I'm not sure. Episode 1 is up. I mean, this is going to be really good to show people how the whole process works, and I'm excited to watch this.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, and they've got a nice list of celebrities, both inside and outside of the industry. Kevin Sussman, who's the comic store owner on Big Bang Theory, is one of the celebrities they have. And of course, episode 1 focuses on Vlad Chvátil and Through the Ages, which kind of was the birth of CGE.
100%, yeah.
2006.
Did they announce the topics and what's going to happen in the other episodes? I only saw that they put the first episode out.
Not as far as I know. There was a trailer that's been up for a little while. My apologies if you heard music there. But I don't know what episode 2 is going to entail. The trailer shows a whole bunch of different things, which is fantastic.
Very cool. All right, that's it for the news for this week. Let's get over to strategy and tactics. So first thing to make mention to everybody is that the contest is over. So by the time you hear this, it's too late. We'll have the contest winners for you on the next episode, hopefully, if I get a chance to go through it. And I have to point out some things, even before we start taking questions here. First of all, you know, we came within 2 questions of running out of questions. These next 2 questions I'm going to ask were right before we announced the contest. And then after we announced the contest, 8 pages on Board Game Geek, which is about 200 questions, have been put up there. Of course, each person putting up 3 questions that they did to maximize their chance of winning. And if anybody put up any more, I will find you and you will not win. So I just want to point that out, that, you know, we have a lot of great freeloading fans who only put questions up there when we run a contest. So that's my official statement. We love our freeloading fans. Don't worry. Louis Godbout, he's at Crod007. When will you do an event to have more questions here?
And this was posted right before we did the event to get more questions, right?
I swear that was the case. This was posted on May 10th of this year, and on May 17th, the flood of questions started coming in. Now, Louis, I believe we've answered your question.
Let's just say soon.
soon. Hanorama, a good friend of mine, Chris Hahn, how you doing, buddy? Long-time listener, first-time caller. He says, as I type this, May 16th, 2023, Origins are right around the corner. My question for you is Origins still a relevant convention based on its size, as well as how close it is to Gen Con every year? You know, this is actually a really good question. I did not attend Origins this year, and people were, and you did, we'll talk about that. People were ringing the death knoll, but we reported that their attendance was way up from last year, not quite to 2019 levels, but it was up, getting close there. So, Corey, I mean, what do you think about Origins in general, since you were there this year? And we'll go with Ignacy as well.
I'm going to have a little bit of a strange perspective because this is the first time I've ever been to Origins. It's just been under my radar for years and years and years. It's been the 4th pick, and I can only do 3 every year. So the debate that seems to come up all the time, and I remember this going back at least 5-7 years, is Gamma and Origins are inextricably tied. Origins generates money for Gamma. Gamma generates things for Origins. And there was rumor all over the place that when the pandemic hit, it would affect cash flow between the two, and Origins was going to have trouble. So there was always this murmuring in the background about the relevancy of Origins and the feasibility of keeping Origins going. I will tell you that when I went, it was an amazing social con. It seemed like industry people were just all together and talking and happy to see each other. And everybody was very happy to have gone to Origins, but the relevancy in terms of sales and exhibit hall and business, I'm not sure if that was still up to the level where people are not worried anymore.
Ignacy, have you ever done Origins?
We did once, and then we evaluated that we will focus on the Dice Tower Con, which is amazing because it is exactly 4 weeks before Gen Con. So if you create some hybrid Dice Tower Con, it's very good for you. And then Gen Con is the main event of the year. So yeah, for my company, we never invested in Origins, and it worked for us.
And, you know, from my perspective, again, not going this year, but going, you know, every year, like from 2019 back since 2010 through 2019, I've always liked Origins. The sales were okay, good, depending on what you had.
Did you exhibit at the Origins back then?
Oh, I went up as high as a level 2 exhibitor. I was spending. Okay. I made it a hallmark of exhibiting because it's easier to stand out at a slightly smaller convention than a Gen Con. You can't stand out unless you're the size of an Asmodee, really. I mean, it's just crazy how big the Gen Con exhibit hall is. So I exhibited, we did well, it was a good promotion. But as Corey said, socially, fantastic. But that's not the reason that one should go from an exhibitor's perspective. I really wanted to go this year socially again, because to see all my industry friends and to see gamers and all that, I just could not make another trip. It was squeezed between things. So It was crazy. I think Origins is back. I mean, again, I'm an optimist, as everybody knows. I do think Origins will continue to be an important con. It is now number 3 largest convention for board gaming in the US, with PAX Unplugged being number 2. And they have really moved solidly into number 2 now. So let's see how it plays out. But I'm a fan of Origins for a few reasons, Columbus being one of them, and the social aspects and the ability to do games and see people easily.
The food was amazing too.
The food's amazing there. So here we get on to as I mentioned, the flood of questions that occurred once we started a contest. And you're going to see that because of the way I scrape questions to make it easy on myself and not go crazy. I just scrape questions and put them in here. So you're going to notice that a single person will ask several questions in a row very often. Ben Stein from the United States, because they put those little flags up there now on everybody's things. Ben Stein, he's at Ben1 Music. As 3D printers become both more common and more advanced in their capabilities, what are some of the ways in which you think they might be used by board game manufacturers, players, and third-party sellers, like those on Etsy?
Well, let me just say, 3D printers have been the mainstay of making prototypes and show-off prototypes at conventions for designers and publishers for years now, because they've gotten to that affordable level. My own attachment to that is one of the first high quality plays of Cosmoctopus at Gen Con. They 3D printed all the little octopus pieces, and then they gave them to me when Gen Con was over, because I'm involved with Lucky Duck. So I have a lovely little 3D printed pink octopus, which I think is fantastic. So
on one hand, we would say that for the manufacturers, it doesn't matter, because manufacturer does much higher print runs. But on the other hand, what happened the last year at Gen Con was mind-blowing for me. I don't know if you noticed that, because it's more a miniature games section. Privateer Press, the publisher of the War Machine miniature game for years, and they changed the whole model because they were not able to compete with Games Workshop and all the big fishes. and they released a new edition of the War Machine, which is a legit good game that is on the market for many, many years. And now they are selling starter sets and all the additional models 3D printed. And I was really in shock. They actually have the whole range of the product. You can buy it in the stores, and it is all 3D printed. So I don't exactly understand how they do it, how many 3D printers they have, like how does it work. But this is 3D printed models that you buy in the box as a new starter set for the War Machine. And this, as I said, is not a small independent company. Privateer Press is on the market for like a decade or more.
So you had just said that, well, for a manufacturer, it's not possible. And I guess, that's like the Chinese manufacturers who do injection molding and have got 75 years of injection molding facilities. That's not changing ever. 3D printing will never compete with that. But now you're saying that a given publisher has actually put out a game with only 3D. Can you send me a link on that? I would really love to hear about this, because to me, it's nigh impossible to print enough miniatures fast enough to put into a box.
That was the last Gen Con announcement. I was there because I'm a fan of War Machine. I played War Machine back then when it was even metal miniatures. So metal miniatures is old stuff, right?
Old
so
school.
I played War Machine with my metal miniatures. Then they went obviously for the plastic, and then they were not able to keep with the competition. And with plastic, you have to have a bigger print run. So they were shut down for a couple of months, or maybe even more than a year. And the last Gen Con, they released a new edition of War Machine, and all starters, all miniatures are 3D printed. I'm serious.
Can you find a link for me? I mean, right now, but at some point, just give me a link to this. It's wild. That's a wild statement.
I hope they're using as an alternate income source.
But this is not statement. This is happening.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm hoping what the background is kind of like selling books versus selling PDFs. I hope that they're selling files, because there is such an abundance of 3D printers out there, and that would be a huge profit margin on the files. And hopefully that helps support 3D printing of.
As far as I know, it's not the case, because I do have a 3D printer and I would print these miniatures at home. But as far as I was checking right after Gen Con last year, there was not such offer. They're just printing it, packing the boxes, and selling to retailers and from their website.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find that link. That's
War
really cool.
Machine Privateer Press new edition.
Very cool. I want to add on to this that Ben Stein mentioned. Manufacturers, players, and third-party sellers. So for players, of course, a lot of players are going out there, and I mean they're doing it right now. They're just there's millions of these STL files. That's the file that you load into the printer that then prints out whatever you want it to do. There's millions of those things. Lots of them are free. Some you pay for, whatever. So players are doing it, of course, for things. Third party. So I'm going to give a shout out here. Again, we should get like royalties from all these shout outs. HeroForge.com. Now, HeroForge.com is a website where you can custom make your own miniature. You go there, they've got this great graphical interface, and you start with, okay, what are you? Human, male or female, half orc, and then what clothes you want to have on, what other things you want, what kind of base you want to be sitting on, how big your guy is, sizes, pose, the whole thing. And if you pay them even more money, it comes with paints, but it's not painted, but they use colored resins as they're building the miniature. I just did this for my first character in the D&D campaign that I'm in, and I sent it to my DM as a little prize. I never sent him one of these because other people do this and then they paint them themselves. I can't do that. I sent him one and I kept one for myself. I did it for this current character that I have. I sent him one and I did it. And it's all full. I can go, it's right in my family room. I can go there and show it, but it's amazing. Fully painted, colored. And I'm going to do it for the one that I'm still playing in Pathfinder just because I can have it and it's really cool. So these third-party sellers can do anything if they've got the right interface, and HeroForge is doing it really well. Check out HeroForge.com if you want to create your own miniature to your exact specifications.
It's very cool.
Ben Stein again. He asks, who is a board game designer that has surprised you the most in a positive way in terms of their personality or background or non-board game interests when you meet them in person? I think it's
That's
Stephen
gotta
Stephen
be
Bonacore, no?
Ignacy. That's
I was
gotta
going to
be
say Stephen
Ignacy.
Bonacore, no?
They said designer.
I have a story about Emerson. We all know Emerson.
Emerson's
Love-
awesome.
Love Emerson
Uh,
Matsuuchi, designer
so-
of Century Spice Red.
So introvert Ignacy is at his first Gamma trade show. I'm at the lunch. As you guys all can expect, I'm sitting alone at the table because I'm afraid to approach anyone. So I'm having my hamburger alone. And as you can imagine, Emerson just approaches my table. We didn't know each other before. And he says, hello, my name is Emerson. I know you. I know you are Ignacy Czewiczek. I want to invite you to my table. Please have a lunch with us. And this is Emerson. This is him. This is so nice, so kind, and thinking about the people and the stories I could tell about him. Like I am at the Dice Tower Con. I'm running demos of the games, as you guys know. I'm like demo after demo after demo after demo. Suddenly, Emerson approaches. Ignacy, you haven't eaten anything today. Here is your lunch. And he brought me lunch without even asking me, because he cares for the people, because he looks at the other human beings and he thinks how to help them, how to be a nice person for them. So as we say many times in this podcast, basically these designers are very nice people. Like I met Eric Lang and Bruno Cattal and all of them super nice people. And then there's this Emerson who just approached me without, we didn't know each other yet. And he says, please come to us, sit with us, don't sit alone. And it was an amazing moment.
It's a great story. And
just last week, so Above Board sends film people all over the United States, and our film crew that was in New York City got delayed because of flights. And I called Emerson. I said, why don't you go out and visit with them? And on that short notice from a flight delay, we filmed 1 or 2 videos with Emerson. So they should be coming out in a few months.
Awesome.
Very, very cool. So many great people in the industry, as I've always said. And Ben asks his third question: what are some ways from the subtle to the easily noticeable in which the audio editing transforms the podcast from your recording session to its final form? Very simple questions, Ben. I saw how you did
sound
that.
literate.
Oh man. Oh, that is just
shows the immense skill of our editor, Joshua.
That's just uncalled for. But I mean, it's I'm not an audio editor, and I don't know all the details of what goes in, but the stuff that you'll easily notice, of course, is the bumpers, right? The intro, the outro, and all those bumpers in between. It takes a long time to put those in. And then all of the, we're recording it in 3 separate streams, and he's got to put those things together and levelize them. That's a term that they use. To I'm hot, my microphone's hot, I'm loud, Ignacy's quiet, Corey just sounds like crap. So he figures out how to make all this stuff work together, and he brings it out.
I have the most professional microphone out of everybody here. I just want to say.
Yeah.
I just want to say you can follow me on Twitter at Trevik, and you can see photos of Steven hardware, because at the DesktopCon I made a report how we record the podcast, and it is amazing stuff.
That was actually a pretty funny post that you put on Twitter. He's like saying like 25-year-old laptop, gamer headphones. His microphone's got wire on it. Very professional stuff going on here. That was a great post.
Yeah. So I do the audio editing for Dice Tower now, and I can say that the individual streams and setting the timing of conversations is really important with the editing. Like you said, the bumpers. And in mine, I have a scripted podcast, so when I have somebody like Steven who flubs lines all the time, I can edit out the flubs and make it sound like cohesive sentences. So hopefully it's wonderful changes that no one notices.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that editing. Anyway, with that, we will get to the playtesting segment. All right. So last week, actually it was 2 weeks ago, we skipped this segment last week because we wanted to make sure people had enough time to put in their questions. And the question, which came from Ignacy, actually was, if you were to pre-order a game from a publisher, what factor would make you do this? Would it be early shipping, discounts, extra goodies, or other? Please define. Anybody find any cool particular things here? There's a lot of stuff we got for this one.
there was many replies, which I appreciate.
Yep.
But to be honest, I haven't found anything that would surprise me. So there was no some ideas from our fans that say, "Oh, this publisher does this amazing thing, and I love it." So all the replies, all the answers were going around either free shipping, either some goodies, either early shipping. And as I see in the comments, free shipping is super important for you guys, because if you have the choice to order from the local game store, or you go to the website from the publisher and you have to add $20 or $15 to the price of the game, it's end of the deal. Like, you will not do this.
Right.
It's as simple as that. No goodies will convince you. So free shipping seems to be a key. And then if you have this free shipping, then extra goodies or maybe early shipping would
Early
make it like
a big one.
awesome offer. But if the publisher has no free shipping on their offer, they can easily close the pre-orders already.
Agreed. It seemed like there was a nice, to me, it seemed like there was a nice even mix of what people were after. Some people were after, I want it early, and some were after, I want it cheap, and some were after, I want the thing I can't get anywhere else. The one that surprised me is there were a couple people talking about some of these produce to order methods. The most famous of them is GMT Games does their P500 system.
Correct.
So what they do is they say, we're going to make this game. And then as soon as they get 500 people saying they want it, they print it and ship it. So it's I know Hangman Games does it as well. And they have, here's a game we're going to make 100 of them. And as soon as we get that, they're going out.
The model the GMT is running, because they are running it for years, like this is their business model, like basically is the foundation of the company. It allows them to take any risk possible. Like they don't care if the game is risky, they don't care if the game is controversial. Like they can go for any niche idea, because if there is 500 people, we do it. If there is no 500 people, we are not going to risk
we
them.
Don't.
and this is so great to release games that every single other publisher would say, too niche, we are not going to do that. And they can do it with this program. Lately, there is a new game on the P500 game about inventing submarines. Like, this is like, I don't know if there's more niche topic. But yes,
I hope the Henley's in there.
Yeah, and they put it on the website. They say, this is the game, this is the idea for the game, this is what we want to do. If there's 500 people, we will do it. And there is no risk involved for them. And that's why this is a stable, good business model. And they're a great publisher of niche games.
Very good.
Absolutely.
I picked a couple here that I thought were particularly interesting.
I apologize. I should say it's Jay Atkinson who brought up the GMT P500, and I was just tickled that it came up in the discussion. So sorry, Steven. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Jeff, he's the wise goat. I like that one. The game being from a small publisher that isn't going to get retail distribution. So that's a really good one, right? So sometimes a small publisher, you see them at conventions, you'll pre-order it because you might not be able to find it afterwards. They just don't have any good retail distribution. Or sometimes a product from a bigger publisher that's not going to get retail distribution for some reason, like the Wingspan nesting box. So basically, he's talking about making it, easier to find. I mean, games that are hard to find, he's going to pre-order. I also found that one person, Duncan McGregor, says that it's extra stuff often deters him, especially big boxes or deluxe editions, that they take up too much space and are harder to transport to game nights. I think that's an interesting perspective, but I don't think that that's everybody's, because we have a lot of people saying exclusives are cool.
We're seeing a lot of Kickstarter kind of pushback on that. Everybody talks about the cool mini model where, here's one pledge level, $100. Look, it's cute. It's lovely. By the way, when you spend extra money, you get these 400 other boxes.
Yeah. And one more, Kirk W said, he's the corset maker. First and foremost, I want to support my favorite publishers directly, so that's a cool thing. And second, I want to get the games in a timely manner, so sometimes it takes too long to get it to a retail place. So he'll go with the publisher. So great answers. Thank you all for posting those. This week, I have a question. This was my question that I just came up with basically on the spot right before we started the podcast.
You're so smart.
I am. And my question, which I guess you guys aren't going to be able to answer as well, but I wanted to get this out to ask about it, is Do you listen to Board Games Insider on audio podcast or video on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel? And if on audio, what platform do you get the podcast on? Is it iTunes, Google, Stitcher? That's a big platform for some, or some other obscure audio platform. How do you listen to this podcast? Now, guys, I know don't listen to it.
I don't listen.
I can answer this question because I don't listen our show because I hate my English, but I listen a ton of other shows. And you are missing one very important platform. That is Spotify. Spotify changed their business model because they were not earning enough money on music, and they went all in like 2 or 3 years ago with the podcasts. And a ton of people are now listening to the podcast on Spotify. I'm listening to my podcasts on Spotify. So
I know I've pushed Dice Tower now to Spotify.
Yeah. What's the other Pandora? Does Pandora also do podcasts or no?
I don't know, but Pandora's model is you tell us what you like and we'll give you random music.
I'll put it there anyway. I'll put it there anyway, just in case. But I've made that update now, so we've got all those things.
Just want to throw out there, Ignacy, I've heard you say a bunch of times that you don't like your English, but I have to say that I desperately want to learn Polish because I'm so amused by the stories you tell in English that I feel a loss. I feel like I should be able to hear you in your native language because I think you'd be hysterical. And it bothers me that I don't know Polish. So
I had a couple of fans, Portal Games fans, hardcore fans who sometimes jump to my Polish channel. They don't understand anything, but they see how fast I speak when I know my language. Like this is
I've heard that.
Completely different Ignacy when he don't need to think every other second about the next word to put.
Your English is very good and has even gotten better over time. So
I
don't worry.
appreciate your English. I love talking to you.
So anyway, everybody out there, what do you think? Tell us how you get this podcast. Right now, Ignacy is going to create a thread on Board Game Geek for you to answer this question. Go to our guild on Board Game Geek, find our playtesting thread for this question, and post your answer to it. Now we go to the final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening or watching. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, even though we're not running a contest now, guys and gals. And also answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also by going to the guild on Board Game Geek and looking for the thread with this episode's question. Check out our websites, portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com, dicetowerdish.com, and on social media. Talk to us, interact with us. Facebook, please like our pages, /BoardGamesInsider, /PortalGamesUS, and /Podfather Gaming. Speak directly to Ignacy, Corey, Steven, Twitter and Instagram. It's @PortalGamesUS, @Podfather Gaming, @DicetowerDish, @DicetowerNow, and the YouTube channels that you can come watch are Portal Games Movies, the Podfather of Gaming, and of course, Above Board TV. Check out Ignacy dancing on Portal Games US on TikTok. We really love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. Hopefully, I'll see you at Gen Con. It's a crazy place, so I'll be there. Corey will be there. Come to Corey's show there. Let's hang out, chat, and maybe play a game together. So please do that. Board Games Insider, professionally edited by Joshua Bowman from Tabletop Submarine Podcast. If you want your podcast edited by Joshua, reach out to him at tabletopsubmarine@gmail.com. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, outro, and in between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Corey, I put something here. I'm not sure you want to say any of what I wrote here, so I just throw it there.
Bringing up every pain in my life, aren't you?
I'm not saying you should mention this painful thing, but it's going to be interesting to see what that show ends up to be.
So the bottom line is, due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, there's all sorts of things put upon me. For Above Board, my entire cast is in SAG. We certainly want to represent the SAG-AFTRA strike. And there's questions about whether we can film our people and whether we can film our
As
presentation.
background for Ignacy, maybe he knows this, but maybe some of
I
our
know
listeners don't. Okay, so SAG, Screen Actors Guild,
Screen
on
Actors
strike,
Guild.
not allowed to perform, period, for any
Now-
commercial operation.
Actually, totally the opposite of that. The commercial operations, specifically if you're making advertisement or commercials, has another 2 years on the contract. So
I'm using that term differently, but but yes,
I
okay.
have-
You can't
I've
get
heard-
paid. You can't get paid to do things when you're acting right
you
now.
can't
basically.
do them even if you're not paid.
And you can't
So,
even
but-
do them if you're not getting paid, which is illegal under SAG anyway. You must get paid at least
Yes.
scale. So this is crazy kind of stuff.
There's a lot of weird rules, but the
Yeah.
thing is, we are allowed to put on a stage show. We're allowed to have celebrities up there. They are not allowed to talk about their current or past projects, and we're not allowed to film them. But there are some exceptions. Live stage shows are not covered by the strike, and it is under debate whether conventions and public appearances are on the strike.
So Corey, the
Most
very
actors want to show solidarity, so what is going on? Most of the actors have pulled out of San Diego Comic-Con, as people have heard. So we're waiting to see blowback from that.
So do you have plans of maybe inviting some non-professional, non-SAG, creative people on stage to do some work with you? Come on, Corey.
I would, but I don't know anybody like that.
Oh, Jesus. I hate you so much. I so hate you.
We have plans to involve people even as lowly as Stephen Bonacore.
Yes.
In above board.
Yes. Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening.
Oh, such a lead in just to say that you're on above board.
Yes. See you next week. Bye, all.
Yeah, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.